Hey, you. Stop sucking on that straw. Unless, of course, you want to go to jail. Of all the reasons that could possibly land you in jail, sipping your water from a straw should not make the list. But leave it to California to suck it up and make plastic drinking facilitators illegal. Starbucks recently announced its plan to rid itself of plastic straws by 2020, and now California cities are jumping on the bandwagon. You may recall Starbucks' announcement about attempting to save the world by ridding its stores of plastic straws and instead using sippy lids. Straws are out, but they want to treat you like children and give you sippy cups, which makes perfect sense in this hysteria we call 2018. And to pile on, Disney, American Airlines, Hilton Hotels, and IKEA jumped on board, which means that you will now have to chug your lingonberry juice. Private companies can make the switch if they choose, but now city governments are telling its citizens that straws are banned. It started in predictable Seattle, but California cities are claiming the last straw. In Santa Barbara, you will be given a written warning notice for a first offense. But after that, you better look out, because a second offense may cost up to $1,000 and a jail sentence of up to 6 months. Now, they are backpedaling on the jail time stipulation, saying, quote, "There is no intention to strictly enforce the ordinance." Now, I'm sure that's reassuring to someone who's not wearing a MAGA hat who gets caught with a straw. Malibu, Manhattan Beach, and Santa Cruz also have bans, but the real kicker is San Francisco, the largest of these cities, and the one which reveals the most hypocrisy. The San Francisco Board of Supervisors unanimously favored an ordinance last week, which requires a second vote this upcoming week. San Francisco seeks to amend its Environment Code, effective January 1st, 2020, prohibiting the sale or use of straws, stir sticks, and takeout containers treated with fluorinated chemicals. Restaurants would also not be allowed to offer napkins or utensils for takeout orders unless specifically asked by the customer, or if there's a self-serve station.
Okay, he's choking. I need a knife and a straw, please.
The board laid out its concern for environmental impacts and cited the litter on the streets and waterways as evidence for the necessity of banning straws. At the exact same time, these are the streets of San Francisco. A bus driver this past week found it necessary to warn patrons about possible drug needles, made with plastic, sticking out of the seats, and to look down before they sat down. He was kind enough to repeat the warning at every stop before an employee came onto the bus to take care of it. And the new mayor, London Breed, said in June that the city was, in essence, a feces dump. Quote, "There is more feces on the sidewalks than I've ever seen growing up here. That is a huge problem, and we're not just talking about from dogs. We're talking about from humans." This point makes little sense because there are more than 80 Starbucks in the Bay Area, which should be ample dumping grounds. If the city cannot handle the problem, they should speak with their member of the House of Representatives. Okay, maybe not. And that explains it. This isn't really about saving the environment, just as all of these so-called movements are never about what they claim. This is about trying to get conformity in one world order of you must bow to our will. Banning straws across cities is the newest trend and will fade when someone puts a spotlight on the next crisis. And I think we already have a contender, and it's actually telling people the opposite of recycling, this time with their condoms. Apparently that's a thing, and the CDC actually had to remind people of their own stupidity on Twitter. Quote, "We say it because people do it. Don't wash or reuse condoms." Reuse. Really, people? Our governments are looking at what's the latest uproar and then making policy about it without analyzing all sides of the story. Banning straws is no exception, and we see that with Santa Barbara's ordinance having no exemption for the disabled. Certain disabilities make it impossible for some people to drink without the aid of a straw, and straws are commonly used by elderly and the young. In a Huffington Post article, of all places, one woman described the detriment of the ban. Robin Powell, a self-titled proud disabled woman and attorney, said, quote, "People with disabilities want to save the planet. We also need to be able to drink. These two positions do not have to be mutually exclusive. Banning plastic straws entirely is not the answer." She's right. This knee-jerk response may make politicians feel like they're going to be the best candidate to be the next Planeteer, but they're not looking at the bigger problems. Like California having the highest total homeless population at more than 134,000. Or the fact that less than 1/3 of school children are proficient in math or reading. Or how about those tax rates? And let's just pause to ask the real question. What happens if an illegal alien gets caught sipping on a straw? The straws are not good for the environment, but they are not the issue to focus upon and call a win for passing some legislation. But we know that more cities will follow suit and claim themselves courageous. My best advice is to suck it up now, because by 2019, it's going to suck pretty badly if these ordinances continue to be approved. Until next time, sip away and stay healthy, America.